The history of New Jersey began at the end of the Younger Dryas climate, about 10,000 years ago. Native Americans moved into New Jersey soon after the reversal of the Younger Dryas, which had made the area uninhabitable during the preceding Ice Age, unreachable. European contact began with the exploration of the Jersey Shore by Giovanni da Verrazzano in 1524. At the time of European contact, the area was populated by many tribes of the Lenape. The New Jersey region soon came under the control of the Swedes and the Dutch, resulting in a struggle in which the Dutch were victorious. However, the Dutch colony of New Netherlands was seized by the English in 1664, becoming a state upon the formation of the United States. New Jersey saw significant action during the American Revolutionary War. New Jersey's delegates signed the Articles of Confederation in 1779, and Princeton acted as the nation's capital for 4 months in 1783. In 1787, New Jersey became the third state to ratify the United States Constitution. In the 19th century, New Jersey cities led the nation into the Industrial Revolution and provided soldiers for many of the wars the United States fought, including 88,000 men for the American Civil War. The state became a component of the Underground Railroad. The state's transportation system continued to improve with the construction of canals and more rail lines that helped industrialization further develop. During the early 1900s, New Jersey prospered but weakened in the Great Depression in the 1930s. During World War II and the Cold War, New Jersey's shipyards and military bases played an important role in the defense of the United States. In the 1960s, New Jersey was the site of several race riots and of the Glassboro Summit Conference, between American President Lyndon B. Johnson and Soviet Premier Alexei Kosygin. Paleo-Indians and Native Americans. New Jersey was first settled by Paleo-Indians after the Wisconsin Glacier melted. Around 11,000 BC they had settled in southern New Jersey. By 10,500 BC they settled in northern areas. Paleo-Indians were hunter-gatherers. They moved as soon as game became scarce. The Woodland Period of North American pre-Columbian cultures refers to the time period from roughly 1000 BCE to 1000 CE in the eastern part of North America. The Hopewell Tradition is the term for the common aspects of the Native American culture that flourished along rivers in the northeastern United States from 200 BCE to 500 CE. Later other Native Americans settled in New Jersey. Around the year 1000, Native American group known as the Lenape, later called Delaware Indians, settled in New Jersey. They came from the Mississippi Valley. The Lenape were loosely organized groups who migrated seasonally in the beginning. With the advent of the bow and arrow and pottery around the year 1000, extended family groups began to stay in areas longer. They practiced small-scale agriculture, such as growing corn and pole beans together and squash. They were hunting and gathering, hunting with bow and arrow, using deadfall traps and snares. They also gathered nuts in the autumn such as acorns, hickory nuts, walnuts, butternuts, beech nuts and chestnuts. The Native Americans and Paleo-Indians fished in all rivers and streams using nets and fish hooks and by hand. They also fished in the region surrounding the Delaware River, the lower Hudson River, and western Long Island Sound. Their Algonquin language lends itself to many place names throughout the state. European exploration. In 1524, Giovanni da Verrazzano, sailing in the service of France, explored the Jersey coast including Sandy Hook and the Narrows, now the site of the bridge which bears his name. In 1609, Sir Henry Hudson, sailing for the Dutch East India Company, explored the east coast including the Delaware, Raritan, Newark, New York Bays and the Hudson Valley. During the next 4 years, on somewhat secretive missions, Adrian Block explored and mapped the coast along Delaware, New Jersey, Long Island, and New England, naming it for the first time New Netherlands. Colonial history. New Netherland between 1611 and 1614. 3 Dutchmen. Block. Christier on Son and C. May surveyed land between the 40th and 45th parallels along the Atlantic coast and named the area they surveyed New Netherlands. Initially, small outposts were built for the fur trade. In May 1624, from a ship under the command of Cornelius Jacobson, May 30 families were required to spread themselves throughout the region, including Fort Wilhelmus. The last was on the east bank of the Delaware River, the site of the first European settlement in what would become New Jersey. Later another was built at Fort Nassau. The next European settlement was on the banks of the upper New York Bay across the Hudson from Fort Amsterdam in 1630. Located at Paulus Hook, it was part of the patroon ship Pavonia, named for McKeel Pauw, who had bought the tract from the Lenape. At the time, it was the territory of the Unami, or Turtle clan. The settlement grew slowly, impeded by mismanagement of the Dutch West India Company and conflicts with the indigenous population known as Kiefts War and the Peachtree War. In 1658, Director General of New Netherland Peter Stuyvesant repurchased the entire peninsula known as Bergen Neck, and in 1661 granted a charter to the village at Bergen, establishing the oldest municipality in the state. The British takeover in 1664 was formalized in 1674, ending the province of the New Netherland, though the North Jersey would retain a Dutch character for many years to come. New Sweden, part of southwestern New Jersey, was settled by the Swedes by the mid-17th century. New Sweden, founded in 1638, rose to its height under Governor Johan Björnsson Prince. Led by Prince, the settlement extended north from Fort Christina on both sides of the Delaware River. Prince helped to improve the military and commercial status of the colony by constructing Fort Nyalfsborg, near present-day Salem on the east side of the Delaware River. This action prevented the river from being easily taken by the English and Dutch, who were also trying to expand into the New World. The Swedish and Finnish colonists generally lived in peace with their Dutch and Lenape neighbors. Ca. Nothnagel log house and Shorn log cabin are remainders of this early influence. Province from the colony of New Netherland, the Dutch interfered with Britain's transatlantic trade with its North American colonies, insisting that John Cabot had been the first to discover North America. The British granted the land that now encompasses New Jersey to the Duke of York, who ordered Colonel Richard Nichols to take over the area. In September 1664, a British fleet under Nichols' command sailed into what is now New York Harbor and seized the colony. The British encountered little resistance, perhaps due to the unpopularity of the Dutch governor, Peter Stuyvesant. After capturing the colony, Nichols became deputy governor of New Amsterdam and the rest of New Netherland, and guaranteed colonists property rights, laws of inheritance, and the enjoyment of religious freedom. New Netherland west of the Hudson River was renamed New Jersey after the English Channel Island of Jersey, which Charles II of England, after having seen their loyalty to the crown, gave to the people of Jersey as a gift, having given him hospitality in the castle of Montorgueil before he was proclaimed king in 1649. The city of New Amsterdam was renamed New York. Charles II gave the region between New England and Maryland to his brother, the Duke of York, as a proprietary colony. Later James granted the land between the Hudson River and the Delaware River that would become New Jersey to two friends who had been loyal to him through the English Civil War, Sir George Carteret and Lord Berkeley of Stratton. The two proprietors of New Jersey tried to entice more settlers to New Jersey by granting land to settlers and by passing concession in agreement, a document granting religious freedom to all inhabitants of New Jersey. The British Church of England allowed no such religious freedom. In return for land, settlers paid annual fees known as quittance. The proprietors appointed Philip Carteret as the first governor of New Jersey, who designated Elizabethtown as the colony's capital. However, the two proprietors found collecting the quittance difficult, and on March 18, 1674, Berkeley sold his share of New Jersey to the Quakers. This sale divided the province into East Jersey and West Jersey. The exact line between West and East Jersey generally corresponded to the Keith line between present-day South and North Jersey and was created by George Keith. However, the line was constantly the subject of disputes. With the 1676 quintipartite deed, more accurate surveys and maps were made, resulting in the Thornton line, drawn around 1696, and the Lawrence line, drawn around 1743, which was adopted as the final line for legal purposes. Many of the colonists of New Jersey became farmers. However, despite the fertility of the soil, farmers were forced to struggle due to the dearth of English money. Some owned slaves or had indentured servants work for them. The majority of the colonists lived in simple log cabins, coming from the original Dutch settlers. Since New Jersey was ideally located next to the Atlantic Ocean, colonists farmed, fished, and traded by sea. Transportation was slow and difficult, usually on either foot or horseback. Education came through small religious schools, private academies, or tutors. On April 15, 1702, under the reign of Queen Anne, West and East Jersey were reunited as a royal colony. Edward Hyde, Lord Cornbury, became the first governor of the colony as a royal colony. Lord Cornbury was an ineffective and corrupt ruler, taking bribes and speculating on land, so in 1708 he was recalled to England. New Jersey was then ruled by the governors of New York, but this infuriated the settlers of New Jersey, who accused those governors of favoritism to New York. Judge Lewis Morris led the case for a separate governor, and was appointed governor by King George II in 1738. From 1701 to 1765, New Jersey's state line with New York was in dispute, resulting in a series of skirmishes and raids. In 1746, the College of New Jersey was founded in Elizabethtown by a group of Great Awakening New Lighters that included Jonathan Dickinson, Aaron Burr, Sr., and Peter Vanbrugh Livingston. In 1756, the school moved to Princeton. American Revolution. New Jersey was one of the original 13 colonies that joined in the struggle for independence from Great Britain. Many of the New Jersey settlers still felt ties of loyalty to the British Crown, and many slaves sided with the British in exchange for freedom. The Loyalists included the governor of New Jersey, William Franklin. On July 2, 1776, the first Constitution of New Jersey was drafted, creating a basic framework for the state government. The New Jersey Constitution of 1776 allowed all inhabitants of this colony, of full age, who are worth £50 proclamation money, to vote, including non-whites and widows. Married women could not own property under the common law. The Constitution declared itself temporary and to be void if there was reconciliation with Great Britain. Both political parties in elections mocked the other for relying on petticoat electors for allowing women to vote. The right to vote was restricted to white males in 1807, only 2 days after the new constitution was enacted, on July 4, 1776. The Declaration of Independence was endorsed by 5 representatives from New Jersey. New Jersey is referred to as the Crossroads of the Revolution, because the British and Continental armies fought several crucial battles there. Throughout the war, hundreds of engagements occurred in New Jersey, more than in any other colony. 5 major battles were fought at Trenton, Princeton, Monmouth, Union and Springfield. The battles of Trenton and Princeton are collectively referred to as the 10 Crucial Days because these desperately needed victories bolstered the morale of the nation. On the night of December 25–26, 1776, the Continental Army, commanded by General George Washington, made the famous crossing of the Delaware River. The scene was immortalized in Emanuel Gottlieb Leutz's painting Washington Crossing the Delaware, and displayed on the New Jersey State Quarter. In the Battle of Trenton, which followed the crossing, the American soldiers surprised the Hessians, capturing nearly 900 prisoners in 90 minutes and taking supplies that had been for the British Army. After the victory, George Washington led the army back across the Delaware River into Pennsylvania. A few days later, British General Charles Cornwallis hoped to engage Washington's army at Trenton after Washington recrossed the Delaware River, resulting in the Second Battle of Trenton. After recapturing Trenton, he ordered charges on fortified defenses at Assunpink Creek. The Americans inflicted heavy casualties on the British from their defenses. Later, the Continental Army slipped past Cornwallis's stalled army and launched an attack on British soldiers stationed at Princeton in the Battle of Princeton on January 3, 1777. The British at Princeton were forced to surrender. Cornwallis immediately ordered his army to engage the Americans at Princeton, but was prevented by snipers. These victories forced the British to leave New Jersey. On June 28, 1778, the Continental Army under George Washington met a British column under Sir Henry Clinton at the Battle of Monmouth. Washington hoped to surprise and overwhelm the rear of the British Army. General Charles Lee led the American attack on the British rear but retreated prematurely when the British attempted to flank the Americans. The retreat nearly led to disorder, but Washington managed to rally the troops to withstand two British counterattacks, both of which failed. As temperatures increased to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, many soldiers felt a sunstroke. After the battle, Charles Lee was court-martialed for his poor command. Over 1,000 British casualties were incurred while the Americans lost 452 men. It was during this battle that the legendary Molly Pitcher is said to have fought. The last major battle to take place in New Jersey during the Revolutionary War was the Battle of Springfield. Baron von Kniphausen, the Hessian general, hoped to invade New Jersey and expected support from colonists of New Jersey who were tired of the war. He hoped to secure Hobart Gap, from which he could attack the American headquarters in Morristown. On June 23, 1780, the British attacked soldiers under the command of Nathanael Greene. General Greene successfully stopped a two-pronged attack from entrenchments held across the Raritan River, preventing the British invasion. New Jersey ratified and then signed the Articles of Confederation on November 26, 1779. In the summer of 1783, the Continental Congress met in Nassau Hall of Princeton University. It had originally convened in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but mutinous troops prevented the meeting from taking place. Princeton became the temporary capital for the nation for 4 months. During the brief stay in Princeton, the Continental Congress was informed of the end of the war by the signing of the Treaty of Paris on September 3, 1783. On December 18, 1787, New Jersey became the third state to ratify the United States Constitution, and on November 20, 1789, New Jersey became the first state in the nation to ratify the United States Bill of Rights. New Jersey played a major role in creating the structure of the new United States government. When Virginia delegates proposed a plan calling for representation based on the population of each state, the smaller states refused, fearing that with such a plan they would no longer have a say in government affairs. William Paterson, a New Jersey statesman, introduced the New Jersey Plan, by which one vote would be given to each state, providing equal representation within the legislative body. The Great Compromise accepted both plans, creating two separate bodies in the Congress.